Okay, good afternoon and welcome to Yeshiva YouTube, Table Enabled. Today we're starting a new week. Hilchos Birkas Hamazon, Simon Kufsa, the Aleph today, 191. Polim Mechuyavim Levarich. The workers have to bench. The workers have to bench. Yes, they do, but maybe in a bridge version. Aleph, only three halachas. Aleph, Polim Ha'osim Malacha Ezab Al-Bayis. This is a Mefurish Gemara in Brachos, and have Ted Zion. You're working for somebody. Construction, that's the most common case. You're construction, you're a part of a construction company, a building, an apartment building, building a house for someone. If you're Jewish, Makas and Birkas Hamazon, you don't have to say the entire Birkas Hamazon if when you eat your meal, your lunch over there. You want to make sure that you're working as much as possible. Now, the first bracha, Birkas Hamazon, the main bracha, you have to say the entire bracha. Ushniya, the second bracha, Birkas Haaretz, Posech Birkas Haaretz, you start, right? No delacha. V'kol baboni Yerushalayim. Somehow you include Yerushalayim. I don't know where the text is for doing this. V'chosim Birkas Haaretz, and you conclude Birkas Haaretz. Ve'omer Birkas Hatov V'meitiv. Klal. You don't say Hatov V'meitiv. Hatov V'meitiv is the Rabbanan. So the Rabbanan said we don't need to say that when you're losing money for somebody by taking extra time to say Birkas Hamazon, right? How long does it take to say Birkas Hamazon, right? Some people say Birkas Hamazon for 10 minutes, but normal to take us a couple, like a minute or two to say Birkas Hamazon. Nonetheless, they felt it was important that you should go back to your work. Now, we'll talk about exactly the idea behind it of not being Vatal Malacha. In Ian to lean on, I have a little different twist on what the Gemara really is talking about. Who are you stealing time for? Like, what's the reason they did this? The reason you don't have to say the third bracha, right, is because really, from the Torah, all you have to do is mention food, Zan, the Aretz, and Malchus based David, but you just have to mention them. You don't have to begin a bracha and end a bracha with them. So therefore, the first bracha they said is important, so they left there. The second bracha, third bracha, the second and third bracha they combine together. So it's only the Rabbanan to say to be Poseach Baruch and Chosim Baruch. So therefore, they were okir. They removed it in an extenuating circumstance like this. Medvar Amurim Shenotan Sachar Malachtan Milvarasuda. Right? When you get, apparently the minhag was that when you paid workers to do work for you, you gave them a meal. Sometimes you also gave them a salary, right? So it depends. If you're giving a salary besides the meal that you're providing for lunch for them, so then, right, they care. The balabayas, right, the owner of the house, he wants you to do as much work as possible. So you have to abridge your Birkas Hamazon. But if he's only giving you a meal, so obviously, he doesn't expect too much. He's only giving you a meal, so you can take more of your time. You can't say an abridged version of Birkas Hamazon. Similarly, if he's sitting with them, he's a Hamish type of guy. He likes to enjoy with his workers, have a beer with them, have a tuna fish sandwich. So then even if he's paying them a salary, he doesn't care so much because he's sitting down to lounge with them. If he really cared that they worked every minute, he wouldn't go and talk with schmooze with them. He would say, eat your meal very quickly and then go back to working. This is what that goes Maimon says. Nowadays, this is the way it is. Even though Elon Musk and some of the bigger companies are firing a lot of employees, they're sitting around and doing nothing. Back in the time of the Gemara, they cared about every minute. But nowadays, okay, everyone has a coffee break. You go to the water machine, what's it called? You get water from, whatever, okay, I can't remember now. Whatever, you go to that water thing with the American thing. You go get some water, you go get some coffee. So it's expected that people aren't so careful with their time. So therefore nowadays, this doesn't apply anymore. Even if you're getting paid, you're getting a salary, you still have to bench. So if you're at work and you have a meal, you have lunch, right? Even I guess if it's not during lunch hour, you decided to eat, you can say the regular Birkas Hamazon. Gimel, because we don't care so much precisely anymore. Gimel also asks Malacha ba'odo Mevarich, water cooler, that's what it is, the water cooler. This is relevant because we're talking about doing malacha, right? Don't think maybe I'll say all four brachas of Birkas Hamazon and I'll do the malacha while I'm saying Birkas Hamazon. No, you can't do that. The Yerushalmi says, "V'chein hu le'el sof siman kuf pegim." We said this already. when you're engaged in malacha, especially, difficult malacha where you're laying the roof of a house, it's pretty dangerous. You shouldn't be making brachas. I think really for two reasons. One, because you're not going to have kavana for the bracha, and second of all, because you're engaged in making a bracha, you're not going to be careful that you're working on a roof and you could fall off. It's dangerous. So for those two reasons, you shouldn't be doing malacha while you're saying Birkas Hamazon. That's the conclusion of today's share. Stay tuned for Ian to lean on, where I talk a little different perspective about this caveat that if you're getting paid, right, so then you're allowed to abridge your Birkas Hamazon. If you're not getting paid, you have to say all four brachos. And halacha beis, where we say it doesn't apply nowadays. It's hard for me to. That goes Maimonides is a Rishon. There's a commentary on the Rambam. He says it doesn't apply nowadays. It's hard to say a Gemara doesn't apply nowadays anymore. The Gemara was meant, Hashem, the Torah came before the world. Hashem knew everything that was going to happen in the world. Even though people are more casual these days, they don't wear suits to work every day. Some people work remotely now after COVID. A lot of people do. Still, why did Hashem wrote only this halacha for, the first half of creation, the second half of creation didn't write it anymore? It doesn't make any sense. Or after the Churban Abayis doesn't apply anymore, or the Rishonim time doesn't apply. Last 1,000 years doesn't apply. He was living in Ketz HaMashiach. I know it does apply, and I'll tell you why it does apply nowadays, and I'll tell you a new perspective on this thing about salary, getting paid. Ian to lean on coming up next.